Jimmy Butler has decided he will not have his name or any social justice message on the back of his jersey when the season restarts. Butler wants his jersey to remain blank, as his own statement that it would represent who he would be if he was not a basketball player. Shannon, how do you feel about this? Are you good with it?
I like it. It's a very creative idea, Skip. Something that I really never thought of, but I like it. Skip, we see and we hear players when they retire from professional sports. When a guy says, I'm walking away from the game of football, he says, I'm hanging up the cleats. I'm putting away the pads. Or you hear a guy says basketball, the shorts and the gym shoes, Skip, I'm done. I'm hanging them up. Baseball, I'm putting the glove in the closet and the spikes are going away. But you never hear a black athlete says, I'm hanging up that black skin. Because you know what, Skip? He can't take that off. He can't retire from that. He can't. He'll always be that. And if somebody gets mad at LeBron James, makes $100 million a year in endorsement and salary, what do they call him, Skip? The same thing they call a black guy that's making $5 an hour. He's still an in.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying, Skip? So you can't outrun that. I don't care how much money you make. So I like Jimmy Butler saying, you know what? I'm just like the guys I'm fighting for. I'm just like the people I'm fighting for. They don't know their names. They don't need to know mine. I don't know what Jimmy is, 22. So I'm just 22. That's what I am. And that's what I want to be. I'm a blank slate. You know, Skip, Malcolm X, he went to Malcolm X, he said, because it represented the African name that he would never know, unknown entity. So he went by Malcolm X. So for me, Skip, I like it. I like what Jimmy's doing. It's thought-provoking because I'm sure someone's going to ask, why you didn't put no name on your back? And then he gets an opportunity to explain why he did it.
Although he already explained.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting about Malcolm X. The way I understood it, Nation of Islam instructed all of its followers to drop their given last name.
Their slave master's name. Yes.
And go with X.
Right.
So his wife was Betty X. You would have been Shannon X, Skip X, whatever. I wouldn't have been there. But, you know.
Actually, for a while, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, he went by Shabazz.
I don't know that, but I just know they were all the followers were instructed immediately to go X. And I always loved it for Malcolm X's sake because it gave him a mystique and an intrigue to his name.
Right.
If you're just Malcolm, I think he was Malcolm Little from Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're Malcolm X.
Right. But Skip,
you got my attention.
Some of the guys, they kept the name because Muhammad Ali. You know, he followed the faith. And so he kept, you know, he was Muhammad Ali. And so for him, I think because I remember the movie, I'm playing it back, and he's saying why he changed it to the X. I'm going to have to go back and research that again, but I think that's the reason why he did.
So my point is, with Jimmy, if he put X on his back, I would, my eyes are open like, okay, what's your statement here? And I'm more interested. Okay, again, I've told you this before, and I'm going to triple down on it.
Okay.
Here is another disappointment for me, strictly from a white perspective, because I believe that a whole lot of white people who love the NBA are going to be on their edge of the seats when these games, we hope, start back again at the end of this month. And the white community needs to be bombarded with constant messages that relate to Black Lives Matter. The white community needs to be reminded again and again and again that Black lives matter and matter and matter and matter, because this conversation needs to be kept ablaze, not just be kept going, but kept afire, because this country has been on fire with a whole new racial sensitivity over the last couple of months. And I looked forward especially to seeing what LeBron chose to wear on as his message on his back. And the NBA took that out of his hands because the NBA decided to issue an approved list that I still cannot fathom at this time of personalized individual expression of freedom, that they would say, no, you have to pick one of these. And I do not blame LeBron, especially for saying, I have to pick one of these?
Well, Skip, I guess in basketball they said in certain contexts, freedom have limits. So we're gonna limit this to 15 phrases or slogans.
And we talked about all the potential motivations for that. But the point was, LeBron said publicly, they did not ask for my input. And he just said, okay, I'll go with my name on my back. He was basically saying, I'll go with nothing on my back. But of all people, of all champions for racial justice and versus racial injustice. That man I wanted to hear because he's clever, he's creative. He would have come up with a slogan or an expression or a message that would have resonated. You know, and I know he would have.
Right.
Again, he doesn't need to pick one from approved list because that's too run of the mill for him. He's not run of the mill, right?
I think the thing is for me, Skip, and you look at guys like Dwight Howard says, I'm going to donate my entire salary to worthy causes. Patty Mills says, I'm donating my entire salary to worthy causes. Skip, and then I get it. Like I said, I love that the NBA did it, but you know, changing and putting a slogan or a phrase on your back, that's a symbolic message. What Dwight Howard's doing is going to have direct effect, impact of what Patty Mills is doing. So I'm more in line with those guys and people that actually do things. These symbolic gestures are nice, but that's what they are.
I got that. But from my perspective, these messages across the backs of jerseys are not as much or not as important to the black community as they are to the white community as constant reminders, thought-provoke. That's interesting. That's interesting. Keep the thought going in the white minds that are suddenly more open than ever. For what that's going to be worth, I don't know long term. But short term, minds are open. Bombard us with your messages. Again, it's fine to have Black Lives Matter written across the court, but I need messages. And now even Anthony Davis said, well, I'll just go with my family name because it's important to me. Well, that's not going to resonate with the white people. That's just in one eye and out the other. It will not resonate with white people that Kyle Korver wears Black Lives Matter across nobody cares.
Well, I mean, everybody say, I thought his name was Korver. His name Kyle Black Lives Matter.
Okay, but again, what resonates is when you get it from the black stars. Jimmy Butler is a star in this league, and he's deep. He's a deep thinker where I'd be like, I want to see what you have. But he's like LeBron. You're going to make me pick one of these? I don't love any of these. They probably come off as kind of cliched and just sort of blah. You know, they don't really say enough the way Jimmy would want to say what he says. So he says, well, I'll make a statement. I'm just me. I'm just like all the rest of us who are oppressed. Okay, that's fine for him. Maybe that resonates with you. I don't think it resonates with the wider white community. And in the end, I don't want this to
I wish you'd have just sat on it. I wish you didn't say anything. It's like you have to see what my message is. So when he comes out there with just 22, they're like, Jimmy, you don't have a message. Well, I mean,
you didn't even have your name.
You don't have. You're right. You don't have a name on the back. So
okay, that works.
So I wish you'd just sat on it, Skip, just sprung it on people. You know, sometimes you're like, like you see an actor, they growing a look out, and then all of a sudden you see him like, what? Must be for a new role or something. I wish Jimmy had done it like that.
I just don't want some white people to think, well, if LeBron doesn't care and Jimmy doesn't care, maybe I shouldn't really care.
No, they care. LeBron.
Well, obviously he does, but it's all subliminal message. You're watching 2 hours of basketball, and constantly you're seeing whatever the expression.
Well, I've heard a lot of companies say they care and they're going to do all these things, but I don't see them spending with black companies. So you telling me you care and showing me that you don't care. I see better than I hear, Skip. I heard what you said.
You're taking it to the next level. I'm still at this breakthrough level right here. Okay.
I see. Nike and Adidas and Michael Jordan said they're going to spend $100 million in the community. Okay, that's one thing. I want to see what Apple. I want to hear what Google. I want to hear what Microsoft and Facebook and all these companies. They say, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. Well, enough of that. We don't want any more billboards. We don't want you to paint any more street. Damn a street. Put some money in black banks. Put some money in black communities. That's what we want.
Okay, I got you. That's your point of view. I'm still taking the baby steps of awareness, conversation, more openness to this, and I feel like
Skip, you crawling. I'm taking baby steps. That's them little steps I'm taking. When I start talking about walking, then we really go have a conversation.
I still feel like Adam Silver dropped a ball on this. It started with him and the approved list. That's not.
The approval changes things when you only can pick and choose what you want to represent. It is interesting. But also the conversation, like you both have mentioned, will continue from these players once the season resumes. I know we're all looking forward to that. And, some of our other